Good morning, New York Mets Nation. Here I am. Welcome to the BatCave. I'm your host, Ken the Bat Fry. What is going on? Happy Wednesday morning. Beautiful hump day. Who doesn't love a good Wednesday morning, right? Everybody loves Wednesday. Week's halfway over. Hell yeah. Right here in the middle of World Series time here for Major League Baseball. Leaves are changed. A little bit of cool, crisp air moving in. It's a beautiful time of year. I love November, late October, November. Love it. It's like early spring. You know, when it's like late March, early April, mid-April. Beautiful stuff. Then it gets to the shitty stuff, the cold, the snow. The snow ain't too bad. What's an inch or two here or there, but it can get pretty shitty sometimes. So how's everybody doing out there? In baseball land? I'm gonna a little bit of Mets talk today. Not a whole lot going on right now because of the World Series. After the World Series, hopefully things start ramping up. Once the winter meetings take place and stuff like that. Usually that's when things start really happening during the winter meetings. Owners talking amongst each other, talking trades and stuff like that. And we can get a clearer picture as to what direction our New York Metropolitans will be taking. Hopefully a positive one. Last year they spent a lot of money, like 280 million, which is the most they've ever spent, by 70 plus million. And the second year Steve Cohen has been the owner. So hopefully going into year 3 of his ownership, he continues on trying to put a quality product out there. Because whether you win the World Series or not, you still want your team to be good. You want your team out there competing at a high level. And granted, we didn't make it very far in the playoffs, but it's still 101 wins. We were competitive the whole season. It was fun to watch, and it kept it interesting the whole season. There's nothing worse than having your team out by July. That's awful. It's tough to stomach sometimes. My boy Joey Wood checking in here, feeling great. 2 wins away, talking about his Philadelphia Phillies. Phillies looked unbelievable last night. I'm going to talk about them in a little bit, but I'll tell you what. I picked the Phillies in 6, and I stand by that. I wouldn't have imagined they would have did that last night. Their bats were hot. I mean, what's his name? Marcollers, whatever the hell his name is. He was not sharp last night. I mean, he's mainly a breaking ball pitcher. If you watch the game last night, they went over and over and over, but he's mainly a breaking ball pitcher. They were all over his stuff. I mean, all his breaking stuff, his slow stuff. Because once they went to the bullpen, they didn't do anything. So it's, if I'm the Astros, I don't put him out there again. I just kind of leave him where he's at. Say, hey, hit the showers, buddy. You're done for the series. Yeah, I wouldn't even put him out there. And we'll talk a little bit later about the possibility of him tipping his pitches and what I've seen online. Because when I went to work last night, checking out online, and people were posting some stuff as him potentially tipping his pitches and him denying it. So whatever. I mean, it is what it is. Another comment coming through here. Adam Glenn. Hey, what's up, Adam Glenn? How you doing, buddy? I believe Adam's a Philly fan there. Oh, I gotta post his comment. So there's Adam Glenn. Joey, do you think the rain changes the series from the Philly standpoint? Absolutely. You know what? And I think it really worked out in Philly's favor because they were going to go with Thor in last night's game. Thor and mostly bullpen. That's how they've been using them. They use them for like 3. First time they used them 3 innings in the opening series. I think against St. Louis. I think it was 3 innings or something like that, and then bullpen rest of the way. And then against the Padres, I think they just used them in relief in a relief effort. But originally he was going to start game 3, and then it was going to be Suarez game 4, Nola 5, and on and on. And with that rain day, that flipped them. That gave Suarez that extra day because he did pitch relief in I believe it was game 1, which is why they were going to push his start back from game 3 to game 4. And so that pushed Thor, the way it looks, the way I heard, because it changes a lot. Give Coach Rob Thompson some credit there. He plays it close to the vest, and how he feels is how he's going to do it. He's not putting something out there and then having to stick with it because it's already out there. If he feels like he needs to make a change, before the game starts or even during the game, he's making that change. It's a case in point. Last night, Ranger Suarez was moving along pretty well, and he took him out at the 5th inning. It's no chances, taking no chances with it. Joel Sullivan checking in. Good morning. 2 more wins. Yep, 2 more wins away. Like I said to everybody, I've been rooting for the Phillies since the Mets have been out. Lots of friends are Phillies fans, and my daughter says she's a Phillies fan, but she's too busy on the phone. She doesn't get updates, so she tells me what's going on. But she's on the phone with her friends and stuff like that. Turns 13 tomorrow, so that's the age, I guess. And but yeah, so Ranger Suarez, they pulled him out the 5th inning last night, and they could have left him in, but give credit to Rob Thompson. He had a plan and he stuck to his plan. He pulled him out 5th inning. He felt like that was the right time, and if need be, in 2 games, if he needs to use him in the pen, for whatever reason, he's going to be available. So that good for him. So I think tonight you have Nola going, and then you'll have Thor going game 5. And that's the way it looks right now. I mean, like I just said a minute ago, the way Rob Thompson is, he goes by his gut. It seems like they said that on the broadcast. I think it was on the national TV broadcast or the radio. I don't remember what I was listening to when they were talking about that. And I mean, like, and time again, it shows up. I mean, that the guy. As much as I love Buck Showalter, I thought Buck Showalter did an absolutely fantastic thing with the Mets this season. He was, great the way he handled their bullpen throughout the season. The way he handled slumping players, moving them in the lineup and stuff, and just the approach they took offensively and defensively this year, I thought was fantastic. But I think Robbie Thompson, he has to be coach of the year, absolutely. Joseph Wood, Phillies go up 3-1. You have to throw Wheeler in 5, and that's what I was just thinking as I was saying it, Joey. You'd almost have to, but with the way Wheeler pitched in game 2. Kind of fell flat a little bit. Didn't seem like he was very sharp. But in Philly, it's a different story. So, I mean, I wouldn't expect 2 clunkers from Wheeler back to back like that. So I would imagine they probably want to go Wheeler game 5. Try to keep that from going back to Houston. I mean, that's a huge thing now. If they can win tonight, they close it out in Philly. That should be their focal point after that. Adam Glenn says, feeling great. Phillies 2 wins away. Eagles are undefeated. Yep. Adam Glenn says, Wheeler is hurt. I did not hear that. Joey or Joe, if you guys have heard that, give me a shout. But moving on to the Mets here real quick. So just rumblings and stuff like that. The stuff I read this morning about Shohei Ohtani potential trade to anywhere, to anywhere, is that the Angels aren't interested in trading Ohtani away, which if I'm the Angels, I wouldn't be either. I would try to sign him to a long-term contract, try to get him re-upped as much as I can. If he doesn't re-up, maybe look at the trade deadline. It depends on where you're at with your team. If you're winning next season, if they're winning next season, hold on to him. You lose him, you lose him. I mean, obviously you want to get something back from him because you can get a lot back for him. But the most important thing is winning the World Series. Joey says fatigued, haven't heard hurt. So it's if fatigue is a factor, it may be one of those. Might be better off throwing Thor tomorrow if the Phillies win tonight. I mean, throw Thor 3 innings and maybe bring Wheeler in from the pen another couple innings. Depending on how the game's going. So many different options. That's one of the things I love about postseason baseball is everything's an option. Absolutely everything. Starters and bullpens and all that stuff. It's a beautiful thing. So right now the Angels said that they're not biting on anything. They're not looking to trade Ohtani. But there was a scenario put out there by a Mets. I don't know if it's a Mets beat writer or just like one of their Twitter pages. Just stuff that they like idle chatter basically is what it is. And I thought it was pretty interesting. But a trade package that the Mets would have to put out there. Joey Wood said the ace. You have all offseason to rest to put it away. Well, and the only thing is, if it is fatigue, will he have the gas to actually get it going, to get it going enough? One inning, okay, but can he get to the second, third, fourth, fifth inning, before they go to the bullpen? That's the only thing you have to worry about fatigue is, it's one thing if it's a cut on the hand or, a sore leg or something, but when it's fatigue, how quick is he going to get tired in that game? Will he be able to use that amped up energy in Philadelphia, all that adrenaline to push through any kind of fatigue that he would have? It's going to be interesting what they do there. I don't even know if I put it up there or not. I'm really bad at that, guys. I see a comment come up and I forget to post it. I read it anyway. I'm terrible with that. But a potential trade package that the Mets would put together for Ohtani, like I said, I don't know if this was a Mets beat writer, if it was just like a idle Twitter talk or whatever it was. But the potential package would be Brett Beatty, who was one of the Mets' top prospects. I think he was the number 2 or 3 prospect. He was the first one to come up this season, near the end of the season. Kevin Parada, who was their first round draft pick this year as a catcher, he's their number 3 overall prospect. So Beatty was number 2 because Francisco Alvarez is number 1 overall prospect. And then so Kevin Parada, their first round draft pick, or Alex Ramirez, who was picked up in the foreign signing period. I'm not sure exactly what they call that, but it's not really a draft. It's you can sign foreign players between a certain time, and they signed Alex Ramirez 2 years ago. Really young, 19 years old right now, but he's their number 4 prospect. I think he's only in single A, but their number 4 prospect, and they're projecting him to be able to make it up to the big leagues in 2024. And he's an outfielder, and the Mets will also have to give up a prospect between number 11 and number 15, ranked in their system, and also a prospect outside the top 15 ranked in their system. So that's a lot to give up, a lot of young talent. But Shohei Ohtani is not very old to begin with. And, he had 34 home runs this year, 2.33 ERA. The guy's a stud. How long he can keep that up, I'm not really sure. I mentioned this, I think, last week. Is this sustainable, him pitching and playing the field and hitting and stuff like that? Is that sustainable? What would you rather have? Would you have the pitcher Ohtani or the outfielder offensive threat Ohtani? I mean, it's really interesting what he's doing right now, because it hasn't been done since Babe Ruth, and Babe Ruth has not done it on this level for this, well, I guess he did it for a couple seasons, but he hasn't done it on this level. And so there's no precedence. This is setting the precedence, and it's going to be interesting how they move forward. The Angels or whoever Ohtani ends up with eventually, how they use him. Joey says, I think he needs to pitch in DH, and I think moving forward, that's what if I traded for Ohtani, that's what I would do with him, pitch in DH. But I mean, pitching is very taxing to begin with, and to put the guy out there, the next day, do you give him a day off after he pitches, or what do you do? It's really interesting. It's as the older he gets, the harder it's going to be to manage that. Going to run him down fast if you keep him in the field and pitching. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I think it's great that the NL has DH now. Even though I do miss seeing some of the pitcher six, there's some pitchers that can really rake, man. They're like DeGrom. He was a hell of a hitter. The Mets pitchers, and the DeGrom, Syndergaard, and Matt Harvey, when they're all, even Steven Matz, when they were all together a couple of years ago, and they all could hit, and they hit hard. Each of them, home runs and stuff like that. A couple home runs a season, really impressive. Nothing Shohei Ohtani-ish, but those guys they put it in play. Line drives, good baseball, and also Zach Wheeler too. I think they were all together at the same time. I don't remember if Wheeler was gone before DeGrom and Syndergaard got there. Syndergaard came through a trade with the Blue Jays. I don't remember exactly. Drinking out of my dugout mug here, the wooden bat by Mets engraving. Love the dugout mug. So cool. I got to get them to sponsor me somehow. I'm going to start sending emails. So that was a potential trade package. I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest with you. Ohtani's a once in a lifetime player, but I mean, who's to say Brett Batty isn't, or Beatty's, I call him Batty. Brett Batty isn't going to be one, or Kevin Parada, or Alex Ramirez. Who's to say those guys aren't going to be generational talents? It's too early to tell yet. It'd really be hard for me to swallow to give up one of those guys and then turn out to be some sort of super stud for another team. And then Ohtani breaks down in 2 years. And then we're paying him for 50 years like we do Bobby Bonilla. That's really tough to swallow for me. So that's the only thing I really have on the Mets today. I can't wait till the winter meetings get underway and stuff like that. So I have more to report on the Mets. So we're going to move along here to the Gold Gloveless Mets. So they handed out the Gold Glove Awards yesterday. Angels different than New York City. It's Los Angeles, Anaheim. It's a totally different animal than the New York City. It's the same as Philadelphia is a totally different animal in all of them. Worry about him in the New York with the media and the pressure. Absolutely, anybody that goes to a big market, like, I don't consider the Angels in a big market. The Dodgers I consider in a big market. The Angels I don't, even though they're the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. They just don't feel like they're in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? They still feel like the Anaheim Angels. They feel they've like they're secondary. It's because they haven't been very good, for quite a few years now since their last World Series, I guess. That's how it feels anyway. I could be wrong. I'd have to go back and look when the last time they were actually somewhat relevant. But anytime anybody moves, a superstar moves to a big market, it takes time for them to acclimate to the media, the pressure, the scrutiny from the fans. Whether that's Philadelphia, New York City. Seemed like I was talking about this with my buddy at work last night. Shout out to Andy Summers. It seems like the East Coast teams. You look out west. And it's there's some big markets out there, but it still seems more lax. Doesn't seem like there's as much pressure as there is here in the East Coast as Boston, New York City, the Yankees, the Mets a little bit less, but Philadelphia, not so much Baltimore right now, but as they get better, there's going to be a lot more pressure there. So it just seems like the East Coast, there's more the bigger markets are more pressure than they are out west. I could be way off base on that because I'm not really from, never been to a game out west. But whenever I watch a Dodgers or a Padres game from out there, even the football games, it's just, it doesn't seem, everybody's kind of just chill. You watch a game, baseball, football, hockey, whatever it is, the fans out here in the East are just rabid. They're insane. So, I mean, it's a huge difference, and the pressure when you sign a huge contract or you're traded for a lot or whatever, the pressure is just is crazy, and it's just how long does it take you to acclimate to that? Like the Mets signed Lindor last year, it took him that whole season. He started coming around near the end of the season, came into this season, and looked like himself again. So it takes time. Some guys just never are able to overcome it until they get traded away back to a smaller market and they thrive again. It's just, it is what it is. Either you're built for it or you're not. Shohei Ohtani, is he built for it? Who knows? I mean, only time will tell, I guess. If the Angels are able to re-sign him or not. If they don't, I'd imagine he'd go to a big market team because that'd be the only teams I could imagine that'd be able to afford him either through trade or free agency. So the Gold Glove winners were announced yesterday, and no Mets. There was only one Mets finalist. That was Tomas Nido, a catcher. I think Jeff McNeil was up for the utility portion of it, but he wasn't named a finalist, from what I've seen anyway. So I'm gonna rattle them off real quick. There was a record-setting 14 first-timers. I have a bunch of them written down here. The first-timers. I don't have all of them written down. I don't think I do anyway. But I'm gonna rattle them off. It's kind of a bummer. I thought we had a pretty good defense this year. I thought maybe Nimmo would get a little bit of recognition. I thought he had a tremendous defensive season. I went over that last week, our outfielders' defense, and I thought, overall we had a really good season, defensively. Between Jeff McNeil playing second base, playing third base, playing outfield, the dude was just everywhere. Nimmo in center field, like I just said, a terrific season there. Starling Marte with his arm, terrific season in the outfield. Mark Canha had a really good year, but I mean, it is what it is. Lindor also had a decent season, so whatever. So your catcher, Gold Glove catcher, was JT Realmuto for the Phillies. First base, Christian Walker, the D-backs. Second base, Brendan Rodgers of the Rockies. Shortstop, Dansby Swanson from Atlanta. Third base, Nolan Arenado from the Cardinals. Left field, Ian Happ from the Cubs. Center field, Trent Grisham from San Diego. Right field, Mookie Betts, not Mookie Wilson. For all my thousands and thousands of Mets followers out there, it wasn't Mookie Wilson, it was Mookie Betts. Pitcher Max Fried from Atlanta. And then the utility this year was Brendan Donovan. It was his first. His first is also Ian Happ's first, Dansby Swanson's first, Brendan Rodgers' first, and Christian Walker's first Gold Glove. So congratulations to all those guys. I'll try to get them on the show sometime, but we are packed pretty solid, so we'll see what happens. So then the American League, we had catcher Jose Trevino from the Yankees. Vlad Jr. from the Blue Jays. That was his first. Andres Jimenez from Cleveland. Jeremy Pena from the Astros, the terrific rookie. That's his first. Ramon Urias from Baltimore. It's his first. Stephen Kwan from Cleveland, his first. Miles Straw from Cleveland. Kyle Tucker from Houston, his first. Shane Bieber from Cleveland. And utility was DJ LeMahieu from the Yankees. Cleveland had 1, 2, 3, 4, which tied a record for Gold Gloves. So congrats to those guys also. Cleveland, I said it on one of my shows before the playoffs. The Cleveland had a terrific pitching staff, and fielding was outstanding. Offensively, they're lacking a little bit, and it just shows it right there that I'm the smartest man alive. So whatever. What's next episode? Once the Silver Sluggers are announced and stuff like that, other awards, I'll pop them in and stuff and keep everybody abreast of the situations. So let's move on from the Gold Gloves to World Series recaps. I was originally going to hop on Monday morning and do the recaps of Game 1 and Game 2, depending on how I felt after work, if I was tired or not. But I went and got a haircut, got all my hairs cut. So by the time I got home from that, I was pretty well done. So no World Series recap. So I figured I'd do it today, games 1, 2, and 3, and we'll talk about that for a little bit. So going back to Game 1, the Phillies won 6-5 in 10 innings. I'm just going to give you a breakdown of what happened each inning and stuff like that. I have some notes here, so bear with me. Houston jumped out to an early 5-0 lead in the third with a couple Kyle Tucker home runs. Infield single by Maldonado. Tucker, tell you what, he came out of nowhere with that. A couple blasts there in the third inning. After that happened, I thought Houston had that game with the way Verlander was pitching early on, the way the Phillies kind of looked. They looked overwhelmed against Verlander. So I figured 3-0. That's it. They're done. The Houston's bullpen is outstanding, and just chalk that one up to an L. The jitters, first game jitters, but no, give just like all season, you give Philly credit. They didn't give up and they fought back. They fought back in the fourth, scoring 3 as Castellanos single and Baum had a 2-run double. They tied it up then with a 2-run double by JT, and JT hit the game-winning home run, the go-ahead home run in the top of the 10th. The one thing that jumped out to me, Nola was not sharp. He hasn't been really all that sharp, I didn't think, in the whole playoff so far. I mean, if I'm off base with that, let me know. He just seems off a little bit. Like the end of the regular season, I thought he was pitching well, but in the playoffs, he just doesn't seem himself. Maybe minus a game or so. Verlander started off really hot, but they said it on the national broadcast. It seemed like he stopped pitching up in the zone, started pitching more down, and that's where he started getting hurt. And he's not made for the World Series. It's kind of like what's his name out there in LA? I can't think of his name right now. I could picture him. I just can't think of his name. But yeah, they're just not made for the World Series. They're not made for the spotlight or what it is. And so yeah, he got knocked around a little bit. I think his ERA in all of his World Series appearances are up over 6 now for Verlander, which is insane. He's a Hall of Fame career. Absolutely insane season this year. Should win the AL Cy Young going away, and it just looks like garbage in the World Series for whatever reason. I mean, he'll get another shot at it. So I think probably tomorrow night, I think he'll get another shot at it. So we'll have to wait and see what kind of Verlander shows up. Regular season Verlander or World Series Verlander. If you're a Phillies fan, you want World Series Verlander showing up. And the one thing that really stood out to me, I wasn't so too surprised by the Houston bullpen. They pitched well up till that JT home run, but the Philly bullpen in Game 1 there pitched 5 2/3 scoreless innings after Nola was pulled out. That was impressive in my opinion for a bullpen that was I would say much maligned for I'd say 3/4 of the season for the Phillies. They've been lights out in the playoffs and the World Series thus far. They've looked really, really good. Game 2 was all Houston. They won 5-2 to tie the series up 1-1 in Houston. They jumped out early on Zach Wheeler, who pitched for Philly, scoring 3 in the first. Bregman's 2-run shot sealed it in the 5th. Framber Valdez looked fantastic. He went 6 1/3 innings. Gave up, I think, one run maybe. Yeah, 1 run, 9 strikeouts in 6 1/3 innings. So they jumped out on Philly pretty quick there, and Philly got a couple runs later. Nothing to really note of there, but Framber Valdez looked really good, and the Phillies bullpen 3 scoreless innings there. So that was really impressive again. Game 3 last night, we should all know what happened last night. Philly won 7-0. They jumped out early with the Harper 2-run bomb in the first, then Alec bomb and Marsh in the second. Marsh's home run just barely made it over the fence. You had a feel for that kid that dropped it. You hit him right in the glove and it dropped it. You could tell he was upset about it. But I heard on the way into work last night that when Castellanos went out to take the field next inning, he brought a ball with him and tossed it up to the kid. So good on the Phillies, good on Castellanos there. Thought that was a pretty cool gesture. That's what I meant to say, not gesture. So that was pretty cool by Castellanos. To toss that out there. That's a lifetime memory for that kid now. That's something that's a story he'll pass on to his kids and his grandkids someday, God willing. And so that was the first time in World Series history that there was 3 home runs in the first 2 innings. And also the 1,000th home run was hit that inning also in the second inning. I don't remember if it was Bohm's or Marsh's home run. I think it was Bohm's home run was the 1,000th home run hit in World Series history. So a lot of history there in that second inning. Then Schwarber, he hit a 2-run bomb, and then Rhys Hoskins right after him in the 5th to seal the deal for the Phillies to put Houston out of their misery for Game 3 last night, to put Phillies up 2-1 in the series, and that tied a major league record of 5 home runs in a World Series game. So there was talk after that game about after Harper hit his home run, you could see him, which was terrific camera work. They followed Harper like they usually do now ever since he hit that blast back in the NLCS, where he mouthed the words, "Oh my God, did I do that?" Or I can't believe I did that, or whatever it was that he mouthed, those words. So now whenever he does something, hits a home run, the camera follows him everywhere to see what's he going to say now. So this time it followed him, and he starts shouting, Bomey, Bomey. I'm like, what the hell is he saying? And he starts waving over Alec Bohm, who was in the on-deck circle. And so Alec Bohm comes over, and Bryce calls him down, and he starts, hand up to the mouth and starts whispering in his ear. And my first thought was he's seeing something. He's seeing something the pitcher's doing, and he's giving Alec Bohm some feedback. Hey, watch for this, or something. Like maybe the pitcher's tipping something off, or something with the scouting report that is really sticking out to him. So that was my initial thought right away. As soon as I seen it, that has to be something juicy. It has to be something with the pitcher tipping something or whatever. So then the Phillies, the next batter after Harper, which is I think JT, or is JT before him? I don't remember. So he gets out, so it goes to the next inning. So Bowman's the first hitter up next inning, and sure enough, I think it was the first pitch maybe again, just like Harper, crushed it, absolutely annihilated it, home run, and it really, if you've seen that interaction between Harper and Bohm. And then that happens when Bohm gets up, you knew something was up. And then Marsh, followed it up a couple batters later with his home run. And so I seen something online last night where every time McCullers threw a breaking pitch or a curveball, I think his leg kick and his hands would come higher. And anytime he threw a fastball, his leg kick and hands were lower. I could have those mixed up. I'm trying to picture the picture in my head now that I've seen online. Now, whether or not that's a fact, I don't know. That could have been taken in two different parts of his windup for all I know. It's the internet. Believe it or not everything on the internet is true. All right. That's a disclaimer there. But so with the pitcher showing what it was, the Astros pitcher looked like he's tipping his pitches. So it's then when he was asked about it, McCullers denied. He said, "No, I just got my butt whooped." I credit to him, for saying something like that. He could easily said, "I'm gonna have to go back and look at the film," or I've been having an issue with it or something. Yeah, he could easily copped out of it. No, he owned up. He said, "You know what? I got my butt kicked. Tip pitches or not." So. Credit to him for stepping up and taking it on the chin like a man. And when they asked Bohm after his home run, actually in the dugout, what Harper said to him, and he said nothing. And so, obviously he did. I don't think he was blowing in his ear. I don't know what the relationship's like. I don't know what they got going on. He could have been blowing in his ear, but I don't think so. I think he fed him some information. And when they asked Bohm after the game, they asked him again, what did Bryce say to you? He said, nothing. So, way to keep your cards close to the vest. Very smart. And because you don't want, you wouldn't want McCullers to know what you know about him, even though he'll go back and he'll watch film and, him and his pitching coach or whoever will break it down and see what went wrong. That's what they should do. And they'll correct it for next time. You would think that's what would happen. They'd try to correct it for next time. If it's a mechanical issue, like tipping pitches, I think that's going to be much harder to correct because that's going to change, something mechanically. And you do the same thing over and over and over again as a pitcher. One little tweak can really just throw everything off. So it's going to be interesting if he pitches again this series, if he's able to correct that, and if he's able to actually pitch at a decent level. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But the Phillies, I think all their runs were scored, which I don't know if it was a record or not, but all their runs were scored with no runners in scoring position. They did leave a couple guys on in scoring position throughout the game, but all their runs were scored without runners in scoring position. I don't know if that was a record or not, but that was a crazy stat I saw yesterday. I thought was pretty interesting and a little bit funny. Because if you ever seen this show, which I'm sure the millions of you have, that's one of the things I talk about the Mets didn't do consistently near the end was hit with runners in scoring position, and how hard or how important it is to hit with runners in scoring position. It's one of the biggest things, in my opinion, offensively, that the Mets need to correct this offseason. I said it last. They corrected it. They got better at it than the season before. That was one of the biggest things that haunted them the season before, was their lack of hitting with runners in scoring position, and they did it well early to midseason this season, and then sporadically throughout the end of the season, and it really came back to bite them right in the butt. So hopefully that's something that they can correct. One more quick thing from the World Series so far that has me super impressed. The Phillies bullpen, 12 and 2/3 of scoreless innings so far. 12 and 2/3. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. So, kudos to them. I think the Astros are at, they might be at like a, 2 runs or something like that in 12 innings. So they're pitching well. Their bullpen's pitching well also with the extra innings that they've been pitching. But the Phillies bullpen, stand up and applaud them. The way they pitched and the way Rob Thompson has used them. He's been using them masterfully. He's been doing a great job. He's out coaching Dusty, in my opinion. Dusty's been around for a long time, and Dusty Baker's a terrific coach, a very, very good coach. And unfortunately for Dusty, I don't think he's ever won the World Series. He's been there a few times, just has never been able to get over the hump, if I remember correctly. So yeah. So good. So good on that. Good on the Phillies bullpen. So we're gonna move on. Things are just cruising right along here right now to my power rankings, and so it's not gonna be much change from last week. If you remember the show from last week, which I'm sure you do, I'm just gonna spout them off here. Not much has changed. 10 Cleveland, the Indians. 9 St. Louis. 8 Seattle. The 7, my beloved Metropolitans. 6, San Diego. 5, the Yankees. 4, the Braves. 3, the Dodgers. 2, Houston. And 1, Philly. That's the only switch I have. Philly and Houston. I had Houston won last week, so I have Philly won this week because Philly's out playing them. Philly seems to have more grit and determination. They seem to want it more, in my opinion. So we'll have to wait and see what it looks like tonight for them. Hopefully that crowd shows up again. And they were insane last night. I guess the Penn State campus in Brandywine was able to register it on the Richter scale when I don't know I think it was when Harper hit his home run. It registered on the Richter scale in at Penn State campus Brandywine, which is insane. And they get it crazy loud in Philly. This might be the craziest crowd that I've seen for the Phillies, even going back to their last World Series championship back in I guess it was 08, I think, or 07 or 08. And they've been absolutely insane. So give credit to the fans. They've showed out. They've really showed what Philly fans can be. Which is just they take over the show. That crowd. They actually have taken over the show, and good for them. So that was my power rankings. Now I'm going to move on to my ever so famous top 10 list. This week's top 10 list, in recognition of Halloween, is going to be my top 10 Halloween candies. My top 10 favorite Halloween candies. So if you have your favorite Halloween candies, give me a shout out. Let me know. I'd like to see what your favorite Halloween candies are. Everybody has different favorites. Some of mine on here, you might think, oh, what the hell is that? That's crap. That's garbage. But, these are my favorite. This is what I like to see when I'm rummaging through the kids' bags this time of the year. I got three kids, and through all their bags. So we're looking for the good stuff. When the kids are at school, watch out. Daddy's getting fatter. So number 10, And I think a lot of you are going to think I'm crazy for this. Number 10, Smarties. I love Smarties, man. Whenever I see this, my kids hate the Smarties, so it's good. I get the Smarties. When I was a kid, whenever you get Smarties, we pretend that they were power pills. And I kind of look back on it now. We love professional wrestling, then we idolized Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior and stuff. And so we would pretend that those were our power pills, and we'd start wrestling each other. And I kind of look back on it now with the whole steroid issue. I'm like, oh, maybe that's not the greatest thing, but whatever. The Smarties are awesome. I think they're delicious. I like unwrapping it and just having it sit there in my hand, pick one at a time. Beautiful stuff. Number 9, Whoppers. I don't know what the hell the center of the Whopper is, but it's awesome. What I like to do is I like to pop a Whopper in there, and I'll just let it sit in my mouth and until all the chocolate's gone, and start dissolving that inner crunchiness, whatever the inner crunchiness is. Like I said, I have no idea, but I love how they come three to a pack. It's like just like snap peas. You snap peas in their little pod. They have the 3 peas in there. That's kind of like the Whoppers, the fat guy's peas in the pod. Number 8, I have the Crackle / Crunch bar. Now it's the same kind of thing, just different companies. It's Nestle Crunch and Hershey is Crackle, and these are miniature ones. You can only find the Crackle in miniature. And I don't know if a lot of people out there have had the Hershey's Crackle bar, but that's one of my favorites. It's just they're just hard to find in full size. You can't really. I don't think you can find them in full size at all. I think they only come in miniature now. So if I ever feel like a Crackle bar, I have to go to Nestle Crunch. So I kind of lump them together. The Crackle bar is a little bit thicker than what the Nestle Crunch would be, but it's the same concept. The chocolate with that crunchy rice stuff in there. So that's my number 8. Number 7, a Kit Kat. Again, the miniature individual sized Kit Kats, and that's my only bugaboo with the Kit Kat for Halloween is it comes one in one of those little packs, only one. So it's kind of like it's a bit of a bummer. They could fit 2 in there. Number 6, I have Twix. Twix. Number 6, I have Twix, and again, it's the same issue with Twix I have with Kit Kat. I have with Twix. They only have one in the miniature package. They could fit 2 in there. They could fit a left and a right Twix in there, no problem. Number 5, I have M&M's plain and peanut. I love the little bag, a little handy bag you put in your shirt pocket. If you have a shirt pocket or your pants pocket. I usually don't steal those from the kids. I know how much they like especially the little guy. My little lad's 4 years old. I know how much he likes his M&M's, so I steer away. I steer clear of them. The peanut ones he doesn't like. He'll eat all the chocolate and the candy shell, and he'll leave the peanut behind. So if I see the peanut M&Ms, I'll take them because I don't like seeing peanuts getting wasted. That's not fair to them. And here's the really crazy one that a lot of people might not understand or agree. Number 4, I have Sixlets. All right. I don't know if everybody knows what a Sixlet is. It's basically a round ball, a candy coating with chocolate inside, almost like an M&M, but it tastes a little bit different. I don't know what company makes it. It's not Nestle. It's not Mars. I don't think it's Hershey. It's a totally different company, but it comes in like a long tube, maybe like 2 inches long, a bunch of little candy chocolate balls in there. I love them. I just pop the end and just start hitting them. It's like I crack. I can't help it. So if you never had a Sixlet, start going through the kids' bags, see if you can find any in there. If not, hit the internet. Go to Amazon.com and your interwebs and order some Sixlets for yourself. They're delicious. Number 3, I have the mini Snickers. The only thing I don't like about the mini Snickers is the packaging. They have the single letter on there. I don't need a single letter. Just package it, put Snickers on there. They'll have an S on some of them. They'll have an N on some of them, an I on some of them. I think it's just stupid. But I love Snickers. You got peanuts, caramel, chocolate, nougat. That's everything you want in a candy bar right there. Number 2 is everybody's favorite, the peanut butter cup. Put them in the refrigerator. I'm telling you, for refrigerator or freezer, especially the freezer. If you never had a peanut butter cup out of the freezer, you're missing out, man. I'll tell you what. Throw them in the freezer for a couple hours and just be ready to have your mind blown. It takes the peanut butter cup to a whole nother level, man. I'm telling you, it's really exciting stuff. It's groundbreaking. I'm sure there's scientific studies done on this. I'm sure there was. That's how it started. I have no doubt. That's what I want to believe. That's how the peanut butter cup ended up in the refrigerator. Scientific studies, and those gentlemen got paid. And number one, I have full-size candy bars. Any full-size candy bars. Hershey almonds, any candy bar I just mentioned here between the double peanut butter cup, the regular size package peanut butter cups have two of them in there. The big package of M&Ms, the big package of Twix, Kit Kats, on and on and on. If you ever find a house when you're trick-or-treating that has the full-size candy bars, you give them a double thanks. You give them a double happy Halloween, a double trick-or-treat, maybe even go change your costume and head back that way. It's rare that you find a house with full-size candy bars, and those people are angels in disguise, in my opinion. Those people they should win awards for stuff, because it takes a special kind of person to buy a box of full-size bars and just give them away for free. Just because everything's expensive now. Candy's expensive. Milk's expensive. Gas is expensive. Eggs are expensive. Dugout mugs are reasonably priced. Dugout mug sponsor outside the box. I'm telling you, I'm gonna get them. Beg and plead if I have to. So yeah, that's my top 10 list. I love doing a top 10 list. If you guys have any ideas for top 10 lists, let me know. I'll look into it. If it's something that I can do, I'll do a top 10 list of it. Shoot me your top 10 list, of Halloween candy if you want, or whatever. What did I do top 10 list of last week? Top 10 World Series moments last week. Shoot me your top 10 favorite, or even your top 5, top 3, whatever. It doesn't have to be a top 10 list. I love seeing different people's lists, what they think is best, and stuff like that. So maybe one day I'll do top 10 worst. Maybe that's what I'll do. That's the one candy bar, before I get off the subject, before I leave you guys alone, the one candy bar I think gets a bad rap is the Almond Joy. I'm not a big fan of the raw coconut. Adam Popple says the 100-gram bar is very underrated. Oh, I love the 100-gram bar. Yeah, you're right. It is very underrated. It gets zero recognition. I don't know why that is. I mean, hell, it says 100 grand on it, but it doesn't get much recognition at all. I mean, it's thick with caramel and rice and stuff like that, and the chocolate. That's absolutely amazing. The one, while we're here doing this now, the Baby Ruth. I like Baby Ruth, but there's just sometimes there's too much peanuts in there. Sometimes there's just too many peanuts on top, and I just can't handle it then. But I do like a good Baby Ruth, but I have to be in the mood for it. But the Almond Joy, the coconut, I'm not a huge raw coconut fan, but I think the miniature Almond Joys are very good. It's not a whole lot of coconut. You get that one huge ass almond on top there. So I think that's kind of key. If you only get a little almond or no almond, you're screwed with that one. Adam also says, interesting, Baby Ruth was not named after Babe Ruth. I know, that was named after one of the president's daughters, I think. I don't remember which president it was. Eisenhower, I don't know who it was, but yeah, I think Babe Ruth did have a candy bar, but I don't remember what it was called. And he tried suing the Baby Ruth for naming it Baby Ruth. So Grover Cleveland, there we go, Grover Cleveland, good old Grover Cleveland. So yeah, so I remember seeing that not that long ago, that story. I don't remember what I was watching. I think I was watching something on the MLB network, and that came up. So a little known fact there. It's not actually named after Babe Ruth, but after Grover Cleveland's daughter. So I think it was a daughter. I hope it was a daughter. A boy named Ruth. Boy named Sue. Boy named Ruth. All good. So yeah. So anybody else have a list out there? Don't be afraid to message it to me or whatever. Comment on the video later if you watch the show later on. So that's what I got. I got the Phillies in 6 again. I like to say I think they'll win. She died very young. Oh, okay, I did that part. I didn't remember. Didn't know either one. So I still got the Phillies in 6. I think it's going to go back to Houston. I think they'll win tonight. I think they're going to carry over a win tonight from the momentum from yesterday. But I think the game 5, I think they'll lose and then head back to Houston and win there. But it would have surprised me if they swept Philly. If they just took all 3 games here and closed it out in Philly. They're hot right now. It's really insane to see where they started in the beginning of the season. All those times the Mets spanked the hell out of them, and to see where the Phillies are at right now, it's absolutely insane. Now, the Phillies were built for it. Don't get me wrong. Like I said a million times over, that the Phillies were going to be the scariest team to play in the playoffs. If they made it there, they were absolutely built to win. They weren't built to play like they played early in the season, halfway through the season, and sporadically through the end of the season. They were built to win. They had a very good roster, a ton of talent there. Some bought talent, some farm talent. So it's a nice collection of players there. It's not all guys brought in, bought talent like some teams do, like the Marlins from yore, where they buy a World Series. They bring in all this talent. After they win the World Series, they ship them all off. So the Phillies have a nice collection of players there, and so it's going to be interesting if they can build on this season to next year. I'm not sure what their free agency looks like. I'm not sure, like who's going to opt in, opt out, all that other good stuff. That's for a Phillies podcast to do. And speaking of which, we're going to go ahead and do our out of the box show lineup with all of our shows, all of our terrific shows here on Out of the Box Sports Network. So Tuesday nights at 10 p.m., you have the Fight Club 215 talking combat sports, boxing, MMA. I was watching some old MMA the other day. Well, I wouldn't say really old. I think it was UFC. I want to say it was 205. Man, there are some awesome fights on there. I think ESPN was running a replay, or it was like, no, I was actually on my phone. I was watching. It was like a 15-minute clip of all the fights, and the finishes and stuff like that. What an insane card that was. Then on Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m., you have myself, the Bat Fry on the BatCave, talking Mets baseball and Major League and all Major League Baseball, but mostly Mets baseball. Then on Wednesdays at 8 p.m., you have the College Football Frenzy, talking all your college football, top 25, outside the top 25. The BCS rankings just came out, so I'm sure they'll be talking about that a lot, the top 4, and who should be there, who shouldn't be there. I think Clemson's a little bit overrated, but I guess we'll find out a little bit more about them this week. I think they play Notre Dame. So that's what I think about it. I think they have Tennessee 1, Georgia 2, Clemson 3, and 4. I don't remember who 4 was. It wasn't. I think Alabama was 6. Was it Michigan at 4? I'm not sure. I don't remember. Anyway, then they talk about a lot of betting for on the college football show. So if you're into betting, check that out. Then Wednesday nights at 9:30, you have Dem 215 boys talking Dallas Cowboy football. Dallas Cowboys looking really, really good right now. They'll talk about what they didn't do at the trade deadline for the NFL. Good or bad. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I do believe they did make a roster move yesterday. They'll cover that, and they keep it real with their Cowboys. They love their Cowboys. They're passionate about them, but they don't sugarcoat it. Thursdays at 8 p.m., you have Big Mike's 4for4 Locker Room Podcast, talking all your Philly sports. And I'll tell you what, your Philly sports are looking really good right now. maybe minus the 76ers. I'm not sure where they're at right now. I know they started off really slow, but it's early in the season. The Flyers started off really hot. But again, it's early in the season, but the Phillies and Eagles are looking really good right now. The Eagles almost to the halfway point already in the football season, still undefeated. And, of course, the Philadelphia Phillies in the World Series. So you can catch that Thursdays at 8 p.m. Fridays at 8 p.m., you have the Big Blue Power Hour. And the Giants, despite losing this past week, which it wasn't too surprising. Seattle's playing really well, and it was in Seattle. But Giants, playing pretty good football right now. Saquon Barkley looks really, really good. Their defense is looking decent also. Danny Dimes hasn't been looking too bad. So they cover your New York Giants football. Saturday mornings at 7:30 a.m. You have Out of the Ring podcast covering professional wrestling, AEW, WWE, and all that good stuff. Love pro wrestling. I love watching old clips of pro wrestling too. The Vice Network, the Vice channel, they have a lot of. I think October was their wrestling month or something like that. They're showing a lot of Dark Side of the Ring episodes and stuff like that, which was really, really neat to watch. I like that stuff. Saturdays at 10 p.m., not 8 p.m. 10 p.m. You have the Las Vegas sports scene with the mayor of Las Vegas, Vegas Rob, the soon-to-be mayor of Las Vegas, I should say, when he starts running for mayor someday in the future, distant future, probably never. Vegas Rob and myself, the Bat Fry, Kenny Fry. We talk about the Las Vegas Raiders, Las Vegas Golden Knights. Golden Knights starting off pretty good early in the hockey season. We'll also cover a little bit of other goings on in Las Vegas sports, the potential of the Oakland Athletics possibly moving there. There's some news on that we'll cover Saturday, which was really interesting to me. With this being a baseball show, I would cover it, but I think I'm going to leave it for our Las Vegas show just because I'd like to see Rob's perspective on it, because I know he's going to have one. So check those shows out. And then we also got some bills to pay with our sponsors. Jay Fine Law, a.k.a. Big Al, for all your personal injury needs. Call 1-800-HURT-123. And his offices are located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Once again, that's Jay Fine Law, a.k.a. Big Al. For all your personal injury needs, call 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. And his offices are located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120 in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And also we have Castle Boxing in Johnstown, Pennsylvania as one of our sponsors. Great local gym here in Pennsylvania. They have professional boxers. They have gold glove boxers, lots of amateur boxers there. A great gym. Go in there, learn how to box. Terrific instructors, great ownership there. So go ahead, check them out. The 10th ranked boxer in the world fights out of there. Trigger Trayshawn Wiggins fights out of there. He was on the show a few weeks ago on Fight Club 215, as well as the owner of Castle Boxing was also on Fight Club 215 a few weeks ago. Go back and look those shows up and check them out. Good stuff. So yeah, it's anytime you get a chance, you're in Johnstown, check out the Castle Boxing does some events, and check their events out. Adam Glenn says you and Rob should have paper bags on Saturday. Yeah, buddy, the Raiders are pathetic right now. We'll see. Get ready for Saturday. That's all I got to say. Rob says stay tuned, Ken Fry. Yeah, absolutely. That for the Athletics and the Raiders, that's. Yeah, the Raiders playing like the Athletics played this season in baseball. It's really really frustrating. So like I said, tonight you got the Phillies again. Watch the World Series. Watch the Phillies and Astros. As much as it pains me to say, like I said before, I'm rooting for the Phillies because a bunch of my friends are Phillies fans, and my daughter pretends to be a Phillies fan. And real quick, I said her birthday's coming up tomorrow. I want to give her a shout out. Happy birthday, Emerson. 13 years old. my baby's growing up, and that's my oldest daughter, and so yeah, so I think the Phillies are going to win tonight, and I think they'll lose tomorrow and win it back in Houston. That's my prediction. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to put any money on it because I don't like losing, and I guess that's it for me, guys. We got one more comment here. What do we got? We got Adam Glenn saying happy birthday to my daughter. Thank you, Adam. All right, I guess I will talk to you guys next Wednesday. Be sure to check out all these other shows here on the Out of Box Sports Network. Like, follow, subscribe, do all that stuff. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Show us some love. Especially subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tell your friends. Everybody you know that's into sports or whatever. I like getting out of sports a little bit, like especially the top 10 list, to get away from sports a little bit, to keep it a little bit fresh. I love talking about sports. It's a blast, but I like throwing curveballs out there. So I have an idea for next week's top 10 list already, and it's not sports related as of right now, unless something else pops up into my head. But yeah, like, follow, subscribe, hit the heart, hit the thumbs up button and stuff like that. Help a brother out. That's all I can say. Help a brother out. And I will see everybody next week or Saturday night. Check us out Saturday night, Las Vegas Sports Scene. See you later.